What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come in to the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on some recent comments that Stephanie White made. And basically, the comment was that she is going to make the number one priority for the Indiana Fever. The team is going to be building around Kelsey Mitchell. And I can't say that I'm surprised. As soon as I saw the Indiana Fever make the playoffs, I said that once she started to have some success at the play at at the with the program that she had implemented, it was going to be harder for her for the team or anybody or even fan pressure to make Caitlin Clark like the focus of this team, like the person that they were going to build around. From the very beginning, Stephanie White wanted to, she wanted to try to change Caitlin Clark's game and the way that she played the game, right? And so it was kind of like a back and forth, like a struggle. She started to have some success. She wanted to take Caitlin Clark off the ball more and make Caitlin Clark, or if she was handling the ball, make Caitlin Clark more of a typical point guard. And so that, she didn't want Caitlin Clark to jack those threes and all that stuff up. So she was trying to get Caitlin Clark to play a different style of basketball. And if they were losing like that, now if they lost like that, then it would have been harder. They were like, well, you have to allow Caitlin Clark to play her way. But once the team started winning, and when Caitlin Clark got hurt, and they started to have some success, they brought in other players. They made it to the playoff. I said that this was going to embolden Stephanie White to, like this is her program, and she could run it the way she want to run it. And she had some success. She got them into the playoffs. Not only did she get them there, they won the first round. Who did they beat? They beat the Atlanta, they beat the Atlanta Dream, which a lot of people didn't have them beating the Atlanta Dream. I think the Atlanta Dream was at the number 2 team in the WNBA, and they beat them. And they took the Las Vegas Aces to 5 games. So the more success she had in the postseason, I knew that was going to, and not to say that she's right or wrong, but I was just calling this out the whole time. I always thought that Stephanie White I think she's a good coach. She may not she may not be the right coach for Caitlin Clark, but I think she's a good coach. And so like that was part of the struggle. Like who we were gonna run things Caitlin way or do things to benefit Caitlin or run things Stephanie White way. And I thought once they made it deep into the playoffs, and now she's came out, and I'm gonna play the audio. She's came out and made a statement that, like her main focus and the team's main priority is going to be Kelsey Mitchell. And also, I want to read some of the fans, their reaction to what Stephanie is saying.
Priority a year ago, and she's the number one priority this year. She's been so important. And, I said this last year, Kelsey deserves to go through this stage of her Indiana Fever career. She's been through sort of the worst of the worst, for lack of a better term, in and out of the building, growing pains with getting the organization back. You don't get back-to-back number one picks unless you've been at the bottom for a while, right? And she showed up like a pro every day, and she just continues to work and continues to grow, and she carried the franchise, and she carries the teams in different ways, and she deserves the opportunity to do that. I mean, it's close to home. For her, we love her. We want to continue to build, around her and continue for her to have success. I thought she was so instrumental in everything that we did. You lose everybody that we lost, and Kelsey Mitchell.
There you have it, folks.
All right, so and you know what? I know another thing. I just all right. So when Stephanie White said we lost her, I mean we lost some players. She never mentioned she never mentioned Caitlin Clark at all. You know, and so it's like, and it's not the first time that that's happened. And people have said about even the commissioner, right? She kind of like don't actually she'll be talking about Caitlin Clark, but she won't say Caitlin Clark's name. And so it's even more glaring here when you have the coach, because this is the team that Caitlin Clark play on, and you have the coach who coaches Caitlin Clark and never mentioned Caitlin Clark at all. So I can't say that I didn't see this coming. You know, I knew that once they had some success in these playoffs, that it was going to be about, you know, doing things Stephanie White's way, and for that, those statements right there, Stephanie White is taking a whole lot of heat. Um, let me see. One comment was, so let me get this right, Stephanie. Stephanie White plan is to build around let me see, to build around a player that's threatening to quit the team every year, the last 2 seasons, instead of the player that brings all the fans into the WNBA, especially the Indiana Fever. This is a fireable offense, right? And so that's pretty much how a lot of fans feel like. Um, Caitlin Clark, has brought a big following to not only the Indiana Fever, but the WNBA in general, right? And so, they can fans, and I don't think they're wrong for questioning, like, why wouldn't you build around and take advantage of Caitlin Clark's not only her playing ability but also her popularity. Let me see. Look at Stephanie White, who is married to. Oh, look at who Stephanie White is married to. A player she swoons over. Let me see. She's part of their circuit and always been. She needs to go. And like I said, I knew. Who is Stephanie White married to? I think she's married to what's her name, Vicky or something. I think she's like a commentator. Is her name Mabry or something like that? I don't know. I know she's a commentator for one of the news networks. Right, that's who Stephanie is married to. But yeah, a lot of fans, yeah, they not really appreciating that. Uh, this fan right here says that Stephanie can't be gone soon enough. BS talks and everything else walks. Yeah, that's pretty much the sentiment of the fans, because they not really, White is not the coach for CC, holding her back and uh uncalled bogus fouls. What has got CC injured in the first place, right? So holding her back and uncalled bogus fouls is what got her, hurt in the first place. But I want to know from fans in general, like, do y'all think it's a good idea to build around Kelsey Mitchell instead of Caitlin Clark? Also, like, how should Caitlin Clark feel about this situation? I know, like, there have been reports that there have been offers for Caitlin Clark to come and, to go and play in that Euro League. And they're saying that she can make upwards of around $100 million, right? So let me ask you all as fans, or like if you was in Caitlin Clark's shoes, what, like, and you saw that another league wanted to build around, not just a team, but another league wants to build around you, and they want to pay you $100 million, would you go and play for that? For that league? This league right now, I think they paid her like 70 something $1,000, and here you got another league offering her 100 million. Did I say 100,000 at first? They offer her like around 100 million to play basketball, in Europe. And I know that a lot of players, most of the time, the players don't want to go to another country, and play. But for $100 million, you could play. to the end of your contract, whatever the the length of that contract is, and you set for not just your life, but you set for a couple generations, right? So yeah, I saw this coming though. And so next season, the WNBA season, man, I think it's going to be more the same. I think they're going to, and she's not even being, she's just wide open with it. She's not even being fake about it. They're going to build a team around somebody else rather than Caitlin Clark. So I want to know how the fans, how WNBA or Indiana Fever fans feel about this. And if they win without Caitlin Clark, it's gonna be hard for them to kind of get Stephanie to change her, her ways and her thought pattern. So, but I do want to know what y'all think about it as fans of Caitlin Clark. Also, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.